Oh, isn't it a lovely sunset? Oh, watching the sun go down. How romantic. A good way to start my first video, I think. A nice romantic sunset. I am Steve Catton. I am the owner of Tekkit on the Mature Gamer Podcast show. I have this server. I have this factory, I should say. The server's not mine. The server belongs to the Mature Gamer Podcast. What I thought I would do for you guys is show you my factory and show each component of the factory on separate episodes. But just do this as a first episode, just an introductory. Hello. You can probably guess this is my first video. I'm waffling. I've detected the waffling, so I'll just start. Just going to open up. So as you can see, lag does affect frames. This is my big ass door, as I like to call it. It's the door that took me a lot longer than it should have done to get complete, and has been attacked savagely by creepers over the years. I've left it all exposed because at one point in the future I'll do a video on how I made it, and it's a lot easier to show you how it's done with all this kind of wiring and piping exposed. That's what I've done on the other stuff as well, just so that people can see how it's done, and it's a lot easier to explain. I might even go to the length as well to show you how to build one using a creative server, just so you guys can get the fix. And if you want to copy my design, great. If you want to copy my design and add a few things, even better. For example, this device here, I copied somebody else's design and made some changes to suit how I wanted to put it together, how I wanted to use Tekkit. Anyway, let's carry on to my factory. My factory is a cake production facility, as you could probably guess from the name. Here at Tekkit, we feel that all ingredients have to be natural and have to be full non-EMC ingredients. They have to be fresh. They have to be real. It's in our motto. It's in our cake. Anyway, enough of that banter. So this is the main hub. It's the part what creates the actual cakes. Now, this is how you create a cake. You create it with wheat, you create it with sugar, you create it with egg, and you create it with milk. And I'm going to show all 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, as well as a 5th part to explain the door and how to open it. I'll probably do the door first because the door is my favourite bit and I just find it the most interesting. There are going to be a few additions to this at a later time. I wanted originally to have a monster screen to show how many ingredients were in here and how many cakes were in the cake section and other things like that. Unfortunately, I can't get CC sensors to work on this server. It worked on the single player okay, but unfortunately there seems to be a bug or some kind of problem with the console screen within CC servers, so I needed to do something different. I'm going to try and come back to it again at another time, and if I get it working, I'll let you guys know and I'll show it off. It's amazing. It's brilliant. Anyway, I was saying there was 4 components for the cake, and there's 4 components to this factory to make the cake. There's the sugar. Any Minecraft veteran might know this design for creating sugar. They may have seen the version what goes on and on and on, back and back and back, and then has one source of water which just dribbles it down. And it's usually a semi-automatic system where you push a button and it goes and brings up the cake for you. I didn't have length, I did have height, and I did like a big stocky tall factory. It's kind of a little bit inspired, and you probably saw the way the cake symbol was outside. It's kind of almost inspired by a factory that is in Cumbria, a shipbuilding factory called the Devonshire Dock Hall, or DDH. I always quite liked it. I always thought it was quite a cool building. I'm not from Cumbria myself. Well, I'm from Carlisle, but I'm not from that section of Cumbria. You you probably notice I don't have an accent of any kind. Yeah, that's just because I don't like speaking with my Cumbrian accent, and haven't done so unless I speak to one of my family, so that's why. So sugar, wheat, and eggs. Eggs are produced at another location, and when we import them here at Tekkit, because we feel that you have to get the best from the best sources, and the best sources come from my warehouse further up the road. So, well, sorry, warehouse? It's not a warehouse, it's a workshop. The best, they've come from there. I might build a warehouse one day with red sorters. That's a plan. Anyway, so we got the wheat. The wheat facility's mighty nifty. It's not my own design, it is another person's. It's actually from the Tekkit video wikia web page, or website. Those guys did a great design. I wanted to do a little bit of a change to it. I thought the redstone wire section to it was massively more complicated than it needed to be. And then I put in a computer craft console, which you might be able to see just down there. This controls the wheat system, and I'll explain the code behind that. In fact, I'd love to explain the code, but I'm terrible at programming. I just started doing stuff until it started working, typing in random letters, and after a while it worked. I'll also explain the door. This is the section that controls the door. I knew I was going to do a computer craft section, so I wanted to do something that was a bit traditional. I could have controlled the door solely by a PC, and that would have made life a little bit easier, but instead I've got the actual mechanism of how to open the door open. So for example, an open mechanism would lift it back one, and then that sequence would then fire up to move left along here, which would now be on there, and then it would roll all the way back until it got to here and would stop and couldn't go any further, and then the closing mechanism is just the exact opposite. I'll certainly go in here and explain how that all works. It works with all the circuitry. One thing I was planning to do with this factory was not use these lovely tools, which are remote transceivers, wireless transceivers, and frequencies, but I just find this, it makes so much life so much more useful to have them. I did want them to be kind of an ugly maze, kind of wrapped around and wide around all over the place, just because I'm a little bit crazy like that. I kind of like things not to be neat. I think a lot of videos concentrate on making things really tidy. I kind of like the mad professor look of it, and if I ever show you the workshop I'll do so. The waffleometer has just been set to high, so I'm actually going to stop here. I'll give you a nice view from here, from my eventual section, which will be how I'll control it all. I plan to control it from this PC instead of two PCs down there. I'm going to try and control it all from this one section, and there's going to be a few upgrades. There is a more efficient way of having these sugar factories done, where they are back either down to semi-automatic level or just standard level, where you replace the pistons with what are called block breakers, which is part of the red power mod, and then the block breakers would just do the harvesting from me straight from the sugarcane. It's a lot more efficient design. If I'd known about it, I could have done like half of that and would have more than enough sugar. Oh, sorry, I should also say there is a, oh dear, I have no choice but to do this. I preferred not to do this kind of mechanism. There is an EMC component to it all. To do wheat, that did not work how I wanted to do. To do wheat, I needed to use a bone mill to actually grow the wheat instantly. And in order to do that, I needed a bone meal source, really, and the best way to do so was to have a EMC energy compressor, container. Yeah, still can't remember the name. Compressor, container, compressor, condenser, energy condenser. Yeah, there's an energy condenser here, there, which makes very slowly using a energy condensing add-on device, which is rather gold, and I can't remember the name of. I'll explain that more in detail when it comes to it. Oh, it's gone all laggy again. That's not good. Oh, that's not good at all. But anyway, so yeah, that bit is I'll do this for about 5 minutes. It's the fertilizer, and it fertilizes the harvester. It comes down via one of those many pipes. One thing I would say about this design is that I wanted it messy. I like it messy. I knew at some point I'd have to show this off, and it's a lot easier to show people how things are done, how I've done it. Obviously, there are many ways of doing it because Tekkit is amazing, and possibilities are endless with Tekkit. Actually, they're not endless. If you want sugar, you probably have to do it this way. If you want wheat, you probably have to do it that way. You could do one row if you want. I've seen the design with one row. I was going to use that, and then decided not to because I like this design a bit better. Sorry, probably mentioned it earlier, but this isn't actually my design. It's a slight improvement I've done compared to the original design, which was done by the Tekkit Wikia video channel, and I've improved it a little bit by just having it kicked off by a computer to do all the little things. It makes it a little bit more compact. If you watch the original, it's very, very not compact. It's massive and sprawling. A real use of a state cell is made. The old kind of Minecraft state cell design is used, where you have to actually wire it up yourself, and it's unfortunate because it would be a great design without it. Not to be kind of over the head and say this is a great design. I'd say it's a pretty good design. It's a lot tidier. There was a lot of things I wanted to do when making a cake factory, and that was to use a lot of different mods in it. I wanted to use computer craft for one section, and I wanted to use other things in another section. For example, the door is my own design, and I knew I could do it with a computer, do all the redstone firing and the mechanics like that. But I just kind of wanted to use this mechanic up here. I just don't know why, just wanted to use it like this, and I could run up, click on and let it show off. I'll do that for the video. I'll see if I can either get somebody to start it for me and just stand inside this video and watch it there. Look at that wheat go, look at that wheat, and you'll see how to set up these distribution pipes, which are extremely buggy, lovely and buggy, and also how to set up the seeding device. It's a self-seeding, self-populating. I was a little bit worried there. I didn't think that would catch, but it did. Yeah, it's a self-seeding device and a self-stocking device. It could keep going on and on and on, and as long as the fertilizer's there, obviously. But I didn't want it to be. I'll cover it. I'll cover it later. I'll cover it by its own separate video. And I might cut off this section because I'm just babbling. Okay, I think I've shown you enough. I think I've shown you everything. I've shown you the sugar, I've shown you the wheat, and I've shown you... I haven't shown you the cow. Okay, animal lovers may want to look away at this time. It's a little bit depressed. It's not lived a good life with its little pink udders. Let's get some wheat, get its attention. Oh, no wheat there. That's where the seeds go. Let's go and get this cow's attention with some lovely, lovely seeds. So sad. You're so sad. And you're sad. That's why I've put this music player here. just so it doesn't have a horrible day. It can listen to some tunes if it chooses to. It can put its hoof through the bar. Oh, that's some banging tunes. Banging. It's a little bit sad. It's a little bit sad. It's a little bit sad. But I did want a milk factory. I'll explain the milk factory. This is actually my own design as well. I immediately went on the web afterward, after I made it, to see if somebody had made a better design, and lots of people had come up with exactly the same thing as I did. How depressing that my mind just works the same as everybody else's, and there's absolutely nothing unusual about me. Oh well, you live, you learn, you live, you learn. Well, you play Tekkit anyway, so you don't exactly live. Okay, I think I'm going to call it like that before I get too depressed and saddened by the fact that I've spent hours and hours making a cake factory. Hello, little kitty. I'll also explain these failed projects up here as well, and explain how you get such lovely cake and love cake. Okay, see you in other videos.